Welcome back to the Breakup Tapes. On this episode, we're talking about a 25-year-old male who got broken up with suddenly, but then reconnected after 6 months and now has a lot of questions if he should revisit the relationship. Just like in the last episode, everything you're about to hear is real and current. This is actually happening right now. The story comes from one of my Instagram followers, and if you want your story to be read on the Breakup Tapes, you can submit it below. So without further ado, let's get into the story. I'm 29 and I've never been in a serious relationship before. I've had a few flings, but none of them amounted to anything. The most recent one ended badly about 7 years ago. Okay, so he was 22 last time he was in like a fling, when they cheated on me with a friend of mine. And that makes sense. After that, I put up a massive guard and focused on my work and progressing in my career. I told myself I wouldn't let anyone in until I felt safe enough to be vulnerable again. Okay, this is something that I see a lot of people do. And it makes sense. When we burn our hand on a hot stove, we want to stay away from it. It's tough though, because relationships, I really feel, bring the happiest times we can ever experience into our lives. So I'm happy to hear that you're opening up again to this. At the start of this year, I finally found someone who made me feel like I could let that guard down. For 4 months, things were great. She seemed really into it, and we even had conversations about the future. It felt like we were about to take things to the next level and commit to something serious. Awesome. Then, literally like a change in the wind, everything shifted. Within 1 week, she said I had all these issues that to me seemed minor, things we could have worked through together, but for her, they were deal breakers. She ended the relationship out of the blue without giving me a say. It wasn't just the breakup itself. She blamed everything on me and started gaslighting me, making me feel like the entire 4 months we spent together didn't happen the way I remembered. She said things like I'd done nothing for the relationship, that those future conversations never happened. Wow. And this is really tough because this is what you were afraid of. This is the whole reason you didn't date anyone for 7 years. And then all of a sudden it's like your worst nightmare comes true. Let's keep going. It was a horrific experience, and for a while, I started believing her. I thought it was all my fault. I told myself maybe I'm just not equipped for love. Maybe I don't deserve it. And that's the tough thing. When we have several experiences in a row that prove the same thing, we can really start to believe it. I remember after I got divorced, my wife left me, and then I got a girlfriend after that, and she left me too. I started to think that of myself too. I was like, okay, the two people who knew me the best decided I wasn't worth loving. Maybe I'm really not lovable. And sometimes we can latch onto those ideas even though they're not true. We'll keep going. It took a long time, but I eventually accepted that I'd never hear from her again. Okay. I spent the next 6 months focusing on myself. I traveled, poured myself into my work, and even started a new business with a friend. Slowly, I began to feel better and started moving on. Then, out of nowhere, I ran into her at a bar. It wasn't planned. It was completely coincidental. To my surprise, she came up to me. She tried to act friendly, but I was hesitant. Then she asked if we could talk. Okay, so before we get into whatever they're talking about, this is a common thing that I see. I don't know why it happens, but for some reason, the people who do focus on themselves and make their lives happier end up kind of attracting people back into their lives. And a lot of people say it's about energies and what you put out into the universe. I don't totally know if I believe that, but I do think it just, in general, makes you a more attractive person if you build up the characters in your life that are attractive, the characteristics that are attractive, and that seems to be what he did. Okay, so she comes up and asks if they could talk. I was shocked when she admitted that she had sabotaged the relationship. Wow. She apologized, saying I was everything she wanted in a boyfriend, and even told me that she could see herself marrying me. That's crazy, okay? She said she regretted everything, but was too embarrassed and scared to reach out. She thought I hated her. She told me she'd been looking at my social media during all this time, wondering if I'd blocked her. She seemed genuinely sorry and even said that if I was up for it, she'd like to rekindle the relationship someday. Okay, so to everyone who has been dumped that's watching this video, it's really common to think that your side is the only one that feels pain or that really has feelings after the breakup, because you might see your ex posting all these things about how happy they are or the adventures they're going on, or maybe they're even on dating apps, dating new people. what I see over and over again is that there is pain on both sides of the breakup. It's not uncommon at all for the person who ended it to feel so much pain and to reconsider things and to think, did I do the right thing? And a lot of times they did, so maybe they should stick with it. But sometimes, like this one, like it seems like she genuinely has regret for letting this guy go. Okay, marriage is a big thing. Like they weren't together very long, and she threw it all away so quickly. So I'm surprised she gets all the way there. At first, I felt validated. Hearing her admit all of this made me feel like I wasn't crazy, like I wasn't imagining what we had. The next day, I messaged her and told her I appreciated the apology. I tried to start a conversation, but to my surprise, she went cold again and essentially ghosted me. Okay, so this is kind of like the last episode. Like, people can say things with their words, but their actions show where they actually are with emotional availability. And you can listen to words, but you have to keep your eyes open to actions if you're going to make big life decisions like marriage or dating someone even. I was confused. I couldn't understand why she reached out just to disappear again. But this time, I didn't let myself spiral into that anxious place I was in 7 months ago. I decided to leave it alone and went back into no contact. Awesome job. So it's hard. He still feels rejected, but because he spent all that time building his life up, he's a lot more resilient now. When you're happy with your job and your hobbies and your friends and your family, even if you're hit really, really hard in the relationship category, you have all of these other pillars in your life to hold you up and all these other people to comfort you so you can bounce back quicker than if your whole life is just built on the relationship. Fast forward 3 weeks to now. So this was, I think he submitted it like a couple days ago. So this is like right now. She's reached out again. I replied, not ignoring her, but I can sense some hesitation on both our parts. There should be on yours. There are long intervals between replies, and I'm just going with the flow for now. But honestly, I think it's probably loneliness driving her to reach out. It does seem like that. Not that she actually wants me back. Until I see a real change or some kind of progress, I'm trying not to read too much into it. Okay. It's been an exhausting ride. I turned 30 in a week. Happy birthday. And while my heart tells me to give this another shot, my head is warning me about potential issues. What if nothing has changed? What if she does this again? And at this stage in my life, I need stability. I don't want to walk on eggshells in a relationship or constantly worry about what's coming next. That's why I'm hesitant to give her another chance. But then the what ifs start creeping in. What if this time it could actually work? What if she's serious about wanting to change? I'm confused. Your videos helped so much during my healing, and I appreciate everything you shared. Thanks for listening. All right, first, personal message to the person who sent me this story. I think you're incredible. I think the fact that you put your head down and built your life into something that you could be proud of and enjoy living is a rare quality. And those are the type of people that use breakups as breakthroughs and end up way better in their lives. So I think you should be proud of yourself for that. I also think that if you do have any of these doubts that you're unlovable or love just isn't made for you, I think it obviously is. You're learning and defining for yourself what that is as you date her and maybe other people. Risking it and trying is worth it. I think love is worth the pain that it brings when it doesn't work out. And that's a big deal because it brings pain sometimes worse than anything else can. But I think it also brings joy deeper than anything else can too. I'll go over what I think about the story and what I think we can do going forward. So first, as you're looking through like what she's doing and trying to tell if she's improved or not, I would really narrow down what you're looking for. What are the things that you could see her doing that would show you that she's actually changed? It can't just be words. She's done that, and then she proved with her actions that it's not true. So how I would do this is I would get out a paper and a pen and make a list of 3 to 5 things that if she did them, then you would trust her. And one other rule with this, make it so that a 7-year-old could understand it. A lot of times we say things like, I want to see better communication, but that doesn't really mean anything. It's not measurable. You could say that to your partner and they could think, I need to talk to you 1 day a week, when really you're thinking, we need to talk deeply 4 days a week. So really define it so that a 7-year-old could understand what you're talking about. Examples could be that she texts you consistently, and if she ghosts you again, make a consequence. Say, okay, it's over if she does that again. 3 strikes, you're out. When you guys get to the dating portion, like if you invite her on a date, does she flake? Is it easy? Is it really hard to get her there? Is she open when she's there? Does she talk to you, or does she feel like she's closed off and hiding all of these things again? It sounds like the connection you guys had was amazing, and that is one of 3 requirements you need for a relationship to work. You need love and chemistry, which it seems like you guys had, and that's why you were so open to everything. You need the same future goals, which is also why it sounds like you pursued it. It sounds like you talked about that stuff, although she retracted it at the end. And then the third one, you need someone who's emotionally ready for a relationship. And that's the one that is questionable. And I think more on the side of lacking. I think she's more trying to prove that we're wrong. At 2 to 4 months is about when I see what's called an avoidant discard. If someone has an avoidant attachment style, meaning that they've been really hurt in the past, and now they're afraid to completely open up to someone new because they're afraid of that hurt happening again. Just like if you burn your hand on a pan, you're gonna be afraid to cook maybe after. Same type of thing. 2 to 4 months is when things become real. When the honeymoon stage ends and when they start to think, okay, is this something I actually want? We're gonna talk about deeper stuff now. Is this something I'm actually ready for? And when that happens, a lot of people can start to feel an ambiguous sense of stress that they can't totally understand. People with an avoidant attachment style have a sort of atrophy or like a broken down line of communication between their feelings and the definition of those feelings. So when they start to feel this anxiety around closeness, they can't really define what it is. It's kind of like when a baby feels hungry. They don't know the word hungry yet, so they just feel bad. They just cry. And then later, as they learn, okay, this empty feeling in my stomach is hunger, then they can communicate it. But before that, they just sort of feel bad. And when someone with an avoidant attachment style feels bad, they start looking around the environment or looking into the relationship for why they could be feeling that way. And that's probably the explanation for all the things she brought up that weren't really a big deal before, but now are deal breakers. It's because she needs an explanation for that anxiety so that she can justify pushing you away. So in summary, my final advice, I'd get really, really clear on what it is you're looking for her to be different. You can continue pursuing it, but in addition to that, I would also start dating other people if you can. If your eggs aren't all in her basket, you're gonna be able to see more clearly what the broad array of people is like, and it's gonna make the choice of whether or not to choose her a lot more clear because you have multiple choices, so you're gonna weigh her in an accurate amount. And then last, it may be worth including a trusted friend or family member in this situation. Tell them all the details, tell them what's happening, and since they're not as emotionally invested, they might be able to make more logical, rational choices than you are. Until then, though, continue to match her energy and let her lead it. Remember that she's trying to prove that what we already know isn't true. So you don't need to take the reins on this one. You don't need to completely take control. Let her win you back. Let her win your trust back because she really did break it. And I think the first step in you trusting her again is her winning it back and making those sacrifices, even if they're scary. And if it does prove to be too scary for her, to me, that's a sign that she's not ready and she's not different than she was before. If you like this video, subscribe so you don't miss any more of the series, and like it so that more people can see it and be helped by these patterns. If you want your story to be on the breakup tapes, submit it below. And if you'd like one-on-one private coaching going through your relationship to either move on or get back together, the link's in the description too. I'll see you in the next video.